Yes, my name is James Clark. I have an appeal before the Idaho Supreme Court on the findings and facts and the conclusions of law that's published on the webpage of the Industrial Commission. This is my retraction letter. Okay, retraction letter for the Supreme Court case 20016-2012. This is going off in the mail to them today. It's a retraction letter, and let me read it real quick if I can. What it is, it's I want them to take back the lies that are on their web page that has damaged me in more ways than one. I, James Clark, have been defamed, libeled, slandered, and fraud committed against my rights that's protected under a federal law, 45 CFR Part 16, on 3 times known for facts by many. I, James Clark, request that each defamatory, libelous, slanderous documents and statements be corrected and retracted in expressities and public a manner as that in which the statements were published, and that the retractions and corrections be accompanied at the same time by an editorial in which the statements are specifically repudiated. I'm still learning a little bit about reading. Please send proof of correction and retraction to James W. Clark, 3515 Harney Street, Vancouver, Washington, 98660, and the Idaho Court of Appeal, Boise, Idaho, 83720, blah, 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 blah. A libel is a false and malicious defamation of another, expressed in print, writing, picture, or signs, tending to injure the reputation of the person and exposing him to public hatred, contempt, and ridicule. Slander consists 1. In putting to another a crime punishable by law. 2. Charging a person with have some contagious disorder or with being guilty of some devasting act which may include him from society. Making charges against another in reference to his trade, office, or professional, calculated to injure him therein. Altering, and disparaging words productive of special damages, which follows naturally therein. Malice is inferred from the characters of the charge. Based upon information that I have received, I request retractions from the following people and groups / organizations. LYNN M. Luker / legislator for the state of Idaho, and the law firm and president of LYNN M. Luker Law Firm. Referee, the Honorable Douglas Donahue, for the Idaho State Industrial Commission, has stated in his findings of facts and conclusions of law, in order that the appellant had fired an attorney by the same Roger Brown from the law firm of Gagitcha Law Office out of Boise, Idaho. I, the appellant, did not like the way he was handling my case and went pro se after that, which is a straight out lie. Jewel Owens, legal claims examiner with the state of Idaho Insurance Fund. Thomas Baskin, chairman of the State Industrial Commission with the State of Industrial Commission. Sandy Basket with the Idaho State Industrial Commission Rehabilitation Division in Payette, Idaho Employment Office, since I'm not allowed to go into any building that the commission occupies, which is every single unemployment office in the state of Idaho. And I got that letter from Mindy Montgomery, director of the Industrial Commission Employment Office, stated in her report that the appellant had been in prison for several years prior to 1993. That is and was a straight-out lie, and that I was incarcerated in 2006, which again is a straight-out lie. You show me where I was incarcerated for several years, or even incarcerated, and incarcerated means in prison, not jail. You know, it is different. And the way you're putting it, I've been in prison for several years. Marie Wilson / Arnold, clerk of the records for the Idaho State Industrial Commission, which she no longer works there, so how am I going to be able to ask her questions about the lies that she had done and about the altered documents that crossed her desk that was mailed to me? Mindy Montgomery, director of the State of Idaho Industrial Commission, for threats of intimidation to have one's freedoms taken away. Because if I'm to enter any building that the commission occupies, I could be arrested. But I've been to the state capitol to file paperwork. I ain't been arrested yet, because they also occupy a space in there. Douglas Crumb, CDM, S, of Boise, Idaho, hired by the Idaho State Insurance Fund, who stated in his report for the state fund that I was not working from 1993 to the present, possibly due to drug addiction. But if one is to read my my work history, that is a lie, and another lie. James F. Kyle, chairman for the Idaho State Industrial Commission. I don't even know who he is. I just seen his paperwork. Richard Wilson, MD, neurologist in Boise, Idaho, hired by the State Insurance Fund, had stated that the claimant was faking bad in his report. Craig Beaver, PhD, hired by the Idaho State Insurance Fund from Boise, Idaho. Eric Holt, psychiatrist, Boise, Idaho, hired by the Idaho State Insurance Fund, had on October 10, 2008, the same medical records that the State Insurance Fund was telling the Commission for 2.5 months that without my signing these HIPAA medical release forms that the State Fund could not get these records, but in fact had gotten them and sent them to him for review before my appointment of October 10th of 2008, and another lies he put in his letter. How only 5% of my fighting for my life was caused by the injury. Well, it was supposed to be my PTSD was only related to 5% for fighting in my life, was caused by the injury of April 17th of 2008. R.D. Maynard, chairman for the Idaho State Industrial Commission. Thomas E. Lombard, chairman for the Idaho State Industrial Commission, because you see they felt there was no reason to disturb Mr. Donahue, the honorable Mr. Donahue, Douglas Donahue, referee for the Industrial Commission. Carol Garland for the State of Idaho Insurance Fund for putting together a fraudulent job site evaluation on May 29th of 2008. Alan K. Hall, ISB number 1568 of the firm Anderson, Julian Hall, had altered a medical document by appellant's doctor to make one look as if it was wrote when it had not, and other lies prior to January of 2010. Rachel O'Barr, ISB number 5823, lawyer/attorney for the firm Anderson, Julian Hall, has stated in her motion to shorten time to have Drew Loans to testify via phone filed 2009, which was denied by a commissioner order in 2009 that was also granted before the hiring of LYNN Luker in 2010, that the appellant had went to his job to force them to pay me more. That was a lie. And other false statements made in her filings prior to January 2010. The law firm Anderson Julian Hall, LLP, the law firm of Anderson Julian Hall, LLP, allowed these lies to be stated by their lawyer for their firm without facts. Prior to January 2010, Rachel O'Barr, ISB number 5823, lawyer/attorney for the firm Anderson Julian Hall, has stated it in her second affidavit of motion to shorten time, filed November of 2010, to have Drew Loans to testify, phone filed, that it was her personal knowledge that the appellant had threatened Drew Loans of the state fund, but appellant had an attorney for almost a year and had not talked to anyone other than my attorney, who quit December 20th of 2010. This notice is being published on the internet and sent to the Idaho Supreme Court to be filed on case appeal 20016-2012 to qualify for punitive damages. James W. Clark. Hi, James W. Clark. I'm not an attorney. This website expressed my opinion. The comments of visitors or guest authors to the website are their opinions and do not therefore reflect my opinions. Anyone mentioned by name in any article is welcome to file a response. This web does not provide legal advice. I do not give legal advice. Well, no, I don't give legal advice, but I'm going to tell you, be careful on who you hire. And again, make sure that you have a document from your attorney on every single thing that he writes. I do not practice law. This website is to expose government corruption, political corruption, and judicial corruption. Whatever this website says about the law is presented in the context of how I or others perceive the applicability of the law to a set of circumstances. If I or someone other author was in the circumstances under the condition discussed, despite my concerns about the lawyers in general, I suggest that anyone with legal questions consult an attorney for an answer, particularly after reading anything on this website. The law is a gray area at most. This is going out today in the mail to the Supreme Court, to the Idaho Supreme Court, because, you see, this is my life. I want that stuff taken back. I want it off the web page, and I want it off now. And people want to know why I may lose my freedom to be heard, because this stuff is false. It's been written about me. I'm entitled to this stuff now, ain't I? From what I'm finding out. Again, I didn't know all this stuff until I've had to learn it over the last 5 years. I can't go to a temp service anymore and say, hey, man, I need work. Hey, look at my arm, though, man. I can't lift nothing. Oh, I can lift something. And then in my Dr. Hansen's impairment, in his deposition, that was held after my hearing, that my attorney didn't even pay to have done. Matter of fact, it was done by the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall. Now, let me, and you guys asked him a question, and he said both hands. That's 15 to 20 pounds using both hands. You see, I can't get nobody to help me, so I guess I'm going to have to go over there again. But this next time, I do fear for my freedom, because by God, I'm going to be heard.